Hello guys, Spaces are here. So the T62 has shown up in Ukraine about a year ago. What can we learn from this? Also, is it a bad tank even for modern day? Let's start with the firepower. The T62 can fire AP FSDS, heat and HE. For indirect fire, it's just fine. But what would happen if it encounters a modern MBT or any other MBT really, and it's used for direct fire? And if anyone in the comments says, oh, it's only used for indirect fire like a self-propelled artillery gun, here are some pictures to suggest otherwise. Well, so, it all depends really. The T62 can penetrate 460mm of road homogeneous armor with its 3BK15 heat round. And its 3BM28 APFSDS can penetrate 380mm at the range of 2 kilometers. Now, does the opponent of the T62 have more armor than that? Well, the Ukrainian army has been fitting nozh ERA on almost every tank, and also, if it's not nozh, then it's contact 1. Nozh can be fitted inside contact 1 ERA blocks. Contact 1 can only stop heat and HE munitions by taking away even up to 80% of the penetration. Nozh affects not only heat and the HE but also AP. It's able to make a 3BM 42 Mango round penetrate only 60mm of armor at a distance of 100 meters. But keep in mind, the test on this was duplet, which is 3 layers of nozh. However, nozh usually uses 1 layer instead of 3, like duplet. It's still enough to degrade 150mm ammunition to a point it won't do anything. Therefore, its anti-tank performance isn't the greatest. The T62 would have to encounter something like a T72A or T72M that has no ERA on it, or to encounter the opponent from a side angle where armor isn't really, it doesn't really matter if it's from the side. When it comes to the protection of the T62, the most protection version is the T62M, which has added on composite armor, which brings it to the protection level of the T72A and the T72M. There is also the T62NV, which has ERA all over it. You can meme about saying Russians just load up on ERA on stuff, but it's not a bad idea. It protects from common tank dangers like an FPV drone, or with an RPG warhead attached from it, or just a regular RPG-7. Ukraine also has Panzerfaust 3 and tandem ATGMs, like for example the TOW or Stugnapi. Also, Contact 1 blocks don't protect from APFSDS, for example, 3BM22 or 3BM42 Mango from a T64. The only tanks it has a chance against are the M55S, captured T55 and T62, also T72A and T72M, or also the Leopard 1. Then there is one more thing that has to be mentioned about the T62. Just like any tank, it can easily deal with something like a BTR, BMP, M113. However, if any IFV or APC that has an ATGM, for example a BMP2 or a Bradley or a Rosomak, it's screwed. Because, TOW missiles, spike, concourse, all those different stuff. Lastly, I have to mention that the T62 has a HE round, so it can do damage to infantry, which is always a key part of any battle, and it can also be used as a self-propelled gun. However, infantry almost always has FPV drones and RPGs, or other forms of anti-tank weapons, and they are almost always protected and supported with an armoured vehicle, or multiple of them. In conclusion, the T62 doesn't have good enough AP or heat for tanks. The HE round is just fine. The armor won't stand up too much even against an M55S, but at the end of the day, it's another 115mm gun on the battlefield, and that is a threat. After all, a tank is a tank is a tank. No matter what type, it's always a threat to everyone. Even an old T55 will be immune to autocannon fire from an IFV or APC, and will be able to wreck infantry with a HE round, and wreck any IFV with an AP round. A tank is a tank is a tank. So, although the T62 is obsolete and useless against another tank, it will always do work against everything that isn't a tank.